still a Jersey. Okay.
Okay, so we'll start. Everybody should be in here. For all of you guys who are joining us for the first time this year, welcome. This is Lakeland's enrichment class, and our first speaker is going to be Mr. Justin Rosin, and it's going to be on video game music. So, Justin, why don't you introduce yourself? You can kick it off right away, and whenever you're done, we'll have Q&As. You guys can feel free to ask questions in the chat box, and I'll do my best to also help answer any questions along the
Mhm.
way, okay?
Cool. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Justin Rosin. Thank you, Sue, for having me, and for all of you for having me and welcoming me. I'm going to, yeah, so I'm a musician and composer, primarily a media composer. And especially in this day and age, those are very different things. I would say different, but being a media composer can have a lot of different aspects that a concert composer wouldn't have, or like a classical music concert composer, where they write music for concerts, shows, like in Carnegie Hall or whatever. But for media, you're writing stuff for video games, commercials, TV shows, movies, and a lot of those are the same. There's a lot of overlap for all of those. So I felt, I guess, the best way to do this would to be just kind of give a lesson and kind of actually score something together. So due to the kind of the nature of what I do and what I get, I can't share too much, like in terms of videos or commercials or movies, because of copyright stuff and of NDAs, non-disclosure agreements and whatnot. But so we're going to do something that I can show and I can share. So let me go to that really fast. So I can share my screen, right, by doing this. But first, okay, let me open this up. So. Mhm. Let me open it here. Okay, let me share my screen first. So, and then, okay, share sound. All right. Now I'm gonna do, yeah, okay. You guys can see my screen? Good, okay, great. So I'm gonna share. So I'm gonna open up a program here. It's called Logic. And this is what's called, actually I'll open it up, and this is what's called a DAW. People say DAW or DAW. This is what's called a DAW. That's really what the acronym is. And that stands for Digital Audio Workstation, right? Because in this day and age, when you compose, or when you write music, it's like, okay, great, you write music. Now you have to deliver your music. So everything is about what you're going to deliver. And to this day, obviously you're all musicians and music students, you read notes on a page, right? Well, you can deal with notes on a page, but typically in media scoring, there's a lot of just mixing sounds and working in this DAW, this digital audio workstation, to create a final product. And it doesn't always involve notes on a page, it just involves the final product. So I'll get into kind of what I'm explaining here. I'll go through a little bit of a thing that I did. So this was a commercial that I had worked on with a place I was working in the city, and they wrote music for commercials, and they wrote music for commercials and video games. We did actually a commercial for the VR helmet, the Oculus. It was like one of the video games for that. So in this case, it was just a team of people working together to kind of write and produce this music. And that's ultimately what this software is for. It's you produce music, you become a producer. And that's kind of where the lines are now blurred between production and composition. So what I have here, let me actually move some of this stuff down. Move some of this stuff over. Okay. Okay, so this is Logic. And here is what I was given. I'm gonna see if I can open this up to make it a little bigger. I know I don't have a whole lot of screen real estate. Typically with this kind of work, I actually have two screens set up in my kind of thing. I have two monitors, and I have one side has the movie or the video game scene or the commercial, and the other side has my session that's in the DAW. All right, so what we have here, I'm going to open the open video. All right, so give me 1 second. Show movie window. Okay, so this is a commercial I got. It's a Blue Cross Blue Shield commercial, and I had worked with a few people to do the music. And what we're given, is we're given this clip, and it's typically going to be like 30 seconds to a minute, and you do what's called a cue, and the cue is writing music for this. This is the cue, and this is the commercial. And this is how a lot of commercial music gets written. So I'm going to play. I'm going to show you how I got it. Let me just actually, I think, and right now I have all this muted. Okay, so here it is. I'll just show you the beginning of it, and then we can talk a bit about it. Let me know if you guys can hear with a thumbs up. Oh wait. Sorry, 1 second. There you go. No music. You can't hear anything? Really? Oh no. That's weird. You guys can't hear any sound? Huh. Maybe because it's something with here. Give me 1 second.
Justin, when you
Yes.
share screen, did you also click share? Okay.
Share. Yeah, I did. I did do that. Yeah, I've done a lot of these since I'm just not sure why. Maybe, give me 1 second. It might be a sound. What I guess. Output device. Oh, Zoom. I mean, that's why. Let's see.
If you're using headphones, then I think it's that you can hear it through your headphones, but not us, because it's not playing on a speaker, just your headphones.
Yeah, but it is coming through here, so that should work. I've shared it this way. Let me see if it's okay. Let me try this now. Give me 1 second. Can you hear?
Yep, great.
You can hear it? Okay, great. That was it. All right, so it's just something in Logic.
This is how.
Okay, great. Let's start this over. All right. So anyway, so this is a Blue Cross Blue Shield commercial. We got it with no music. And I'll just show a bit of it.
This is Hal. This is his family. The world he's built for 72 years.
So as you see, there's no music, and it's kind of weird, right? When you see without music, it's like kind of scary. So you have to write music to this, and we're given some instruction, and it's
and put back.
and this is going for it's like a 30-second clip version, and so we have to write music for this, and usually have to do it by the end of the day. You have to like get it ready, and so what it comes down to is what's called virtual instruments and sample libraries. You have to create music on your computer, and that's really what the difference between a composer and a media composer does. So that's what I have to do here, and so I was thinking for this, what we have left, to just kind of write some stuff together. Now I'll mention one other thing with this. When I was given this video, when our team was given this video, we see the tone, so we get the tone of it. It's kind of somber, but kind of hopeful. It's about Blue Cross Blue Shield, someone overcoming health issues. And you're always given a reference track, or what's called a temp track, temporary. And for this instance, we were given a temp track. It was the Beatles' Golden Slumbers, the song Golden Slumbers. And it was a karaoke version, so there's no voice. And they usually give us a few points, like they'll say, keep it low, strings and piano. We like the reference, we like the temp track, and no percussion. So this was the song they gave us. So I'll play the song now. I'll play what we were given with the audio.
This is Hal. This is his family. The world he's built for 72 years. This is Hal's.
So now you see the piano and the strings. So we're given a reference. This really helps. This is now a starting point of what we're going to do. And they said no percussion, so we wouldn't have that cymbal swell in there. So this is both kind of like a blessing and a curse, because we're given a reference, but we also have to write music that sounds like this, but is not this, because we can't, copyright. We can't do something that's already written. So this is where we just start to write music. And I think for this demonstration, I would just we could start writing a cue together. So first thing of an instrument, what do you guys think you'd want to put in here? they said with the ref, we have, listen, they like the ref, they like the temp track. So this is piano and
This is
strings.
Al.
It's playing again.
You can hear it? Yep, I know. Can you hear it? So we have piano. So I'd say we start with the piano. And with something like this, you just want to think about tone, whether this is a video game scene or a movie scene or anything. You always just want to think about tone, right? You want to think about what's the tone. By that I mean, what's the emotion going on here? Is this happy? Is this sad? With writing, let me see, if you do something like this. So if we were to do something that was, let's say I'll open up this instrument. So here's piano. So what you would do is you would open up a virtual instrument. This DAW, the DAW, usually comes with virtual instruments, and they're basically the same as instruments, but they're on the computer. So in this instance, so I'll open up this. This is one of my favorites.
We have some
Yeah.
instruments coming in. So in the chat,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
they have
Oh, I'm sorry.
people suggesting cello.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here we go. Sorry. Very good. Very piano. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to keep this chat open. Okay. Okay. I thought this would be in the way of the screen, but I guess you won't see it. Only I see it. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Very good. Okay. Cello, violin, cello. Okay. Good. Right. Strings and piano. Yeah. So they like the strings and piano, and you're going to find out if you're this kind of composer, you're going to be doing strings and pianos, everything. So it was lucky that those are two instruments I play. Yeah. So viola, cello. So right. Very good. So we're going to, let's first start with piano. That's a great foundation, right? And so we'll do piano, and then we'll add some of these string instruments. So I'm gonna first open piano here. I just picked up this, and we have, let me close this, sorry, the chat's in the way. So click on piano. And I actually have here, I don't know if you can, now that I'm sharing my screen, maybe you can see me, but this is I have like a MIDI keyboard. And this is what you would do. You'd plug this into your computer, and it's a virtual keyboard, and you have all the parameters of a keyboard here. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Cool. So now let's jump. So we have the piano up. Let's jump back to the beginning. I'll make this bigger. So you guys said violin, viola. Okay. Cool. Let's start with piano. And some of you said piano. So let's start with the foundation of piano. And the first thing I always like to establish, I forgot to mention this, is the kind of the rhythm of a scene. Right. So with this, it's like, what's the pacing? You know, something like this. Is it really fast, aggressive? Well, no. Is it something more slow and somber? Yes, it is, but it's not sad. It's more hopeful. So you literally find, let me mute the reference for a second. Let's get kind of the beat of the scene. Right.
The world he's built for 70
Not this, right?
years.
Fast. Right, not gonna be that. But it's not gonna be super slow and sad. We want something, and you look at the references in the video, something that's kind of maybe this, you know, between 72 and 88, right? And what exactly I have here.
And put
this track was something. I had a 112, so it was a little bit faster. So it's something a little bit faster. So let's try. Now I'm gonna enable the metronome in this, okay? And we can
put back together.
Okay, so we can start playing a piano line. Now, if we want to play something kind of sparse, but kind of maybe even, they really liked the Golden Slumbers, right, that I played. So something that's in a major key. Right? Something even, something nice and soft, right? Okay, so we can try that as a foundation. And that's what you want to kind of think of, having a piano as a foundation. And that lays out a certain sort of bedding, and then we can add instruments later on. So let me just do this. Record a quick piano.
This
is sustain pedal, sorry, but. So we have that, and you would start that as a foundation. So we have that little D major sort of arpeggio. Here it is down here, and the colors refer to how heavy you're hitting the key. And see, all of this stuff would be in sheet music would be like piano, forte, and chords. All this is now displayed electronically, it's displayed computerly. So we have to kind of adapt to the digital samples and affect them. Well, so right now the velocity, which is how hard you hit the key, or lightly, is all over the map. So you just play what you can on the keyboard, and then we fix it up. Okay, so we bring this. So I bring this onto the beat, bring it onto the beat, make this an even 4, right? Okay, and then you change the velocity. So velocity, I'll explain. Okay, the velocity just means speed, the speed at which you hit the key, and that translates as the aggression of a key. We're going to see later. I'll bring up violins and flutes and virtual instruments, and velocity translates as forte, as playing it louder or softer. So how hard you hit a key, right? So on a piano, it makes sense, right? How hard you hit a key. But on violin, how hard you hit the key also determines how hard you're bowing. How hard you hit the keys, how hard you blow in a clarinet, because these are virtual instruments, right? So anyway, I'll just, I'm going to lower this guy because he's red. That's too high. So I'm going to lower him a little bit. I'll just do this kind of, it won't be perfect. I'm just going to do this for demonstration purposes. Okay. And then, and I don't have a sustain pedal here. I actually do have one on the keyboard, on my mini keyboard. But so I forgot to hit the sustain pedal. Man, that's a bummer. I have to record the whole thing over. No, you don't. You just go down. We're in the digital world. So you have the sustain pedal. So you already have it selected. Sustain, I'm on sustain. Now I'm going to draw a sustain. This is called MIDI CC. I know these are all kind of big advanced words, but it's really just if you know music, and once you get past the tech, it's all just the same kind of thing. Now I have the sustain pedal.
This is how.
Let's say I want to stop the sustain pedal on this beat, then I would do that and just lower it, like the way you would do a real sustain pedal, right? And that's the whole idea, is that you're kind of making this as human as possible. And so this is what you need to do in the scoring world, because they're going to say, compose an hour of music. We got an action sequence, a fight scene. Compose an hour of music. We need it by the end of the week. Let's say 30 minutes of music. We need it by the end of the week. Your job is to give them the music, the finished track, an audio file that has the sound. No sheet music, right? No paper. No kind of a little bit here, a little bit there. You have to do a finished track. So that's going to involve some live musicians, hopefully, and a lot of computer sounds, computer stuff, which is what we're doing here. So, all right.
This is how. This is his family.
Okay, good. So, might not so great piano playing, but that's okay. Fine, we have that. Let's add another instrument. What was the other instrument you said? Violin or viola, right? So let's try that. So strings. We're all string players. Strings rock. Let's do a string instrument. So piano is very easy to what's called sample, meaning record and turn it into this kind of instrument. But stuff like strings and brass, this stuff is going to be more difficult to sample. So you have to make sure you have good sample library. So here, let me add a string here. Here, I'll do this really fast. So we're going to add an instrument, contact, and go away. And we're going to call this strings. Now, what effect do you guys want? What do you think? Like a string tremolo, would that be good? Or do you want plucking? Let me not ignore the chat. Now I got to get used to reading this chat. Sorry. Thoughts. There we go. Yeah. So what do you think? Or do you think we could do like scraping, like in the Psycho? Right. Or that won't work. I don't think that'll work for the chorus. So we want something delicate. Yeah, tremolo. I think tremolo is good, or harmonics. Yeah. So tremolo or harmonics are good. Or to just playing. And you'll see why actually I'm asking about an effect. Long bows, yes, that's really good too. And you'll see these kind of effects are better for this sort of thing rather than just long bows or legatos, because those really expose the virtual instrument nature of this. And I'll show you right now. So let me see. Strings. Let's just say strings right now. We don't know what we're doing yet. So strings something. So I'm going to open up my virtual instrument hub here. This is contact. Again, this is all software stuff. So here's a really good kind of all-in-one film scoring library by Spitfire Audio called Albion One. And so I really like it because they have a lot of really quick and easy patches. And this industry, if there's anything that you need to know, it needs to be quick and easy. You have to do it quickly. So let's do strings. We just have a one patch strings. And it's going to load. Hopefully it will load quickly. see. Come on. There we go. Is this really going to take this long? It's on my solid state. You should be going quick. Okay, so you'll see these part of these things with these sessions, these instruments take up a lot of computer resources. So you need a lot of powerful equipment to run some of this stuff. So and also good thing to know, what I'm doing is I'm loading up the multi instrument. So it has all of the articulations, all of the settings, the patches, tremolo, harmonics, legato, all that in one, as opposed to loading one at a time, because we haven't decided right now, right? We don't know if we're going to do tremolo or harmonic. We're going to see what works with the scene. Yeah, we got L-E-G-A-T-O. All right, here we go. Come on. Come on. There we go. All right, great. Here we go. So awesome. So check this out. And what I like about this group, this company, they do a lot of their instruments are made for musicians, because you'd be very surprised. A lot of people in this industry and do this stuff aren't really traditionally trained musicians. They don't know how to read sheet music or anything. So, but here, look what we have. Well, look, we have notes. We have, this says spiccato. Here's a spiccato. That's kind of a short and feathery off the bow technique. And this is staccato on violins. We have staccato, and then we have, all right, so this is a really big orchestra. It's the only one I have right now, so I didn't get something small. But then we have pits. Here's pits. Right, so this is just the whole ensemble. Okay, and then we have collegno. Do you guys know what that means? That's a cool technique. That's where you hit the bow against the string. So that's a technique that you may eventually learn. And consord. You know what consord means? With mute. Okay, so you put the mute on and have a soft sort of sound. So what we're going to do, since a lot of these instruments, if I were to do, so let's just go to a normal long, like someone said long. Yeah, let's go to, this is called long. And actually, let's go to long CS, long consort. That means soften. So they asked for a softer tone, dampen the sound. So if we look here, we want a softer tone. So great, we have the instrument. If you can see it right here. Sorry, I know it's a little small, but that's it, right tucked away. So if I were to play this, we're in D, so.
This is his family.
That sounds nice. We could do something like that, right? Let's keep this, and let me just repeat this piano over and over. Okay, just so we have more of a foundation here. Let me just copy and paste this really fast. Let's see. Right, so, okay, good. Not perfect, we're just doing something simple. Right, so let's do that again. Now let's go to the strings.
This is how. This is his family. The world he's built for 72 years.
Does that sound okay? I think that's a little like too much, maybe a little too. Everything is about subtlety in this industry, getting a lot done with less. So what do you think? Do you guys like that? Let's try that again. Let's try this patch again.
This is how. This is his family.
You can be honest. What do you think? What does it sound like? Let me pull up the chat. Sorry. You like? You can be honest. Maybe it doesn't sound the best. These strings don't sound so great, right? Yeah, it sounds nice, but these, you have these directors and these what's called these show runners, the people that do the commercials. This music's got to sound great. It's got to sound like Beethoven or whatever his name is, or you know, they're going to just yell at you. So you have to make the sound better. Your whole job in this industry is convincing people. That's all you do as a composer, especially a media composer. You're convincing people that your product is good. So this sounds good, but this kind of stuff is very hard to sample and show in an instrument. So we could use this, but I think we can do something a little better. You liked it, okay, good. Why don't we try the tremolo patch? I think that was a good suggestion, and I think that's where we should go with this. Especially because the tremolo, what you have when you're playing legato, And this is under the assumption we can't get live musicians for this. It's a commercial we have to give up at the end of the day, so we need computer sounds. So when you're playing legato is very hard to what's called sample in an instrument, to record in an instrument and then play on a keyboard. It's not going to sound as convincing. But that's why percussion sounds really good in these virtual instruments, because they're short and they're quick. They're little recordings, much like staccato, right? Or staccato. That sounds. You can do something like that. Right, you can do something like that. But I think the tremolo is good. And what we can do, I have them. Oh, it is working. Okay. So do you notice, if you guys see? Let me just real fast one. The chat. I'll just leave that up now. Okay. Good. All right, because some people liked it. Yeah, and then right. So we have the piano. Yeah, piano bass, and that's what you want to do. The piano bass. This is what we have. We have a very little bit. We just have a small piano bass right now because we don't have a whole lot of time. So really, we do maybe a little more with the piano. But the bass. Now let's add the different effect in the string. So let's try the tremolo. And if you notice here, do you guys see this thing moving up and down, like right here, down on the left where my arrow kind of is? You see that? Yeah. Okay. So that's called a modulation wheel. And normally on a full keyboard, I have a nice one at my home, you'd have a physical wheel here that you would go up and down. But because this is a small keyboard, it's actually a touchpad. And this is important because remember how I was saying the velocity layers, right? Let's look at, so if you look at the piano here, quickly close out of this. Man, you really get used to two screens when you have it. But so you look at the, you see these colors. Remember, this indicated the attack of the piano, right? So this is a quiet one. This is quiet. Oh, let me go to piano. Sorry. This is quiet. It's loud, right? So that's easy. Piano, that's the same thing in the real life, right? You just play piano harder. What do we do when we have something like tremolo? We can't play tremolo louder by hitting the key, right? We have to, other controller, and that's what this term is, CC, a continuous controller. We have to get some sort of controller to affect the aggressiveness, the attack of this. So here's the, now I'm really low. You still look at this bottom left slider I was pointing out before. I'm going to move the modulation wheel. You hear it? See? And it would be smoother if this MIDI controller was a bit better. This is the best MIDI. All right, so you hear that? So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use this mod wheel to kind of create a crescendo and a tremolo into this. All right. So let's try that. So here we go. I'm going to record.
This is how.
Bring it right.
This is his family.
Okay. Not bad. So we started with that. That was a little loud. I did it by accident. It came a little too loud. So what you got to do, that's an easy fix. Remember how I showed you the sustain pedal? I didn't have to re-record anything. I just go into my parameters down here, my CC, see MIDI. So this was sustain, right? We don't need a sustain pedal on the violins. We need, what did I call it? The modulation wheel. So if I go to the modulation, it says right there, channel 1, modulation. All right, I'm going to click it. And here's my recorded CC data. This is what I did with the wheel. It was kind of gradual and then it shot up, right? This isn't again, this controller I have is not the best. So let me actually move this up because it's blocked with the zoom thing. There we go. So you see, so we have to just smooth this out, all right? And this is easy. I'm just going to draw automation data, all right? So let me, give me 1 second, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to have my pencil tool, right? Like in Photoshop or anything, pencil tool. And I'm going to create a curve here. Here, let me first create a tremolo curve. So now that's an even curve. So let's hear how this sounds in terms of the tremolo.
This is how.
What do you think? It's too intense, or should I have it be a little bit less, coming a little bit less steep? What do you think? I thought it was a little loud. But I'm going to metronome so we can. Let's listen again.
This is how. This is his family.
So let's do this. There we go. So now I'm gonna make this a little steep. And it's gonna come in. Okay, and also let me make the note longer and make. Okay. Now let's play from the beginning. Let's hear how this sounds.
My internet connection is
This is
unstable,
Al.
so I can't hear anything.
This is his family. The world he's built for 72 years.
So that was a little better. It wasn't as loud, right? So yeah. So I think so, and then you can kind of adjust this every like this, and then you can come up. So. And then you can, and then from this you add on. You can add all kinds of things. And these are the virtual instruments I'm showing you. There are actually there's you can do you can do electronic instruments. There's like synthesizers and other sounds that you can get from this. So I'm just watching the clock do, and what a lot of composers, media composers do what they have to do. There's a lot of Sue knows, but I have a twin brother named Michael, and he's a traditional musician too, and he's very traditional. He likes tech, but I always found myself better with the tech stuff. He wasn't so much. So and this industry is so difficult as a media composer. It's so difficult if you're not kind of, you don't know the tech stuff, because you simply have to do this stuff. So if you're a concert composer, still learning this, you see it's all technology. It's just all I'm using all technology. I can play violin, I can record some things. I've done that for some commercials, but ultimately it's you have to do this because you have to deliver, right? As a violinist or a pianist, your delivery is just how much you practice, and then you play. You go to the show and you play. But here it's you have to give a final product. So I've done, I hope this was kind of fun and helpful, but we'll do another 5 more minutes and then we'll do questions, right? So till 45, yeah. So, but with this, I do a lot of copyist work as well. So that's in the instance where a lot of this also depends on the budget, like how big the budget is. On a big film score, you're going to get a lot of money, and that hopefully a lot of money, and that you can then hire an orchestra to record some of your stuff. And that's when you have stuff like Pixar films or video games. And I know you guys wanted to talk about video games and stuff, and playing different games like Minecraft or Roblox, whatever you play. But there's for that, someone always at some point opens up something like this, a DAW, and starts writing, and they go back and forth with the director and the editor. And so you're basically a translator of trying to make this media come to life. So so does anybody want to add anything else to this? And then when we're done, I'll show you what the actual thing was, what we actually did, what they actually chose. Does anyone have another instrument, you think? Let me look at the chat.
This is Al.
Maybe decrescendo. Yeah, okay, good. Maybe I shouldn't reach out. Yeah, okay, good, exactly. They shouldn't be that loud, and then we should decrescendo at the end. Yeah, exactly. So once we get to the end of the commercial, they can decrescendo. You can also do stuff like this. Let me see if I can load this really fast. Something here. See, I can load something else. Okay. See if I can load this. This is a really cool patch, and this is where you have to kind of really know your virtual instruments, what would sound good, because again, you have to sound convincing. So you have to really use these instruments well. So let me try something maybe in the low strings and the cello. And this is one of my, let's see if I have it, one of my favorite patches of this company called Orchestral Tools. They have measured trills, and they are kind of measured trills, but what they are is they're just kind of ostinato patterns that go back and forth. And it's always a really good foundation. So let's see, my computer doesn't cry from this. Okay, great. Looks like it loaded up. Awesome. So this is really nice. And what I like, it shows the score. So if you look, I know you guys are violinists, probably not cellists, but we have the bass clef. We already have the violin and piano. So let's add a lower instrument. Here's the cello. And what you do is you play one key. So I'm gonna play this D, and then I'm gonna play another key. and it does a measured trill, or it's just an ostinato going da, 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 da. We add that as a bass, and I use this all the time in commercials. It works. Everyone loves it. So this is really good, and it's better than doing. So watch. So if I do this, if I lock the tempo, so I would play D, and there's the F sharp. It shows the notes. Back and forth. That sounds really good because that's an actual recording. This instrument's really advanced that it's tapping into a bunch of different layers of recordings, and it picks that up and it plays that based on the keys I play, as opposed to doing something like this. If we go back to the other instrument I was doing, right? So let me open that up, see how unrealistic it sounds, and here. Let me just go to a long patch. If I were to do this, it sounds weird, right? So that's where you have to be creative and find other virtual instruments that can do what you're doing. So in this instance, right, let me go back to so now let's record, and let me lower the sorry, go back to the beginning here. Oh, we forgot the movie. Record.
This is Hal. This is his family.
Oh, whoopsies, duh.
The world
Okay,
he's
do that
built
again.
for
Okay, now, and this tempo syncs. So whatever the tempo is, it registers. Say do da 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 da. It gets the eighth note. Da 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 da
This is his
da.
family.
So it actually automatically gets the eighth note. So this is a really advanced. Now I'm gonna sync up my work here, what I just recorded. This is a really advanced tool that it actually syncs up the eighth note. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up to the modulation I was and clean this up like I did before, right? Make this a little more of a smooth curve. So now this is our final product.
This is Hal.
That sounds really nice, right? We have the
This is his
tremolos, we have the ostinato. Sounds really good, and then we can keep going and crescendo at the end. So this is ultimately what you do. And a cool thing I like to do next time you're playing a video game or watching a movie or listening to a commercial, see if you can tell if it's fake instruments, this kind of stuff, or if they're using, a live recording. And it's hard to tell because all this is kind of stemmed from a live recording, but you can really hear when a violin sounds fake, especially in video games. You hear a lot in video games. But before in video games, that used to be the thing. Like during 8-bit, right? 8-bit video games, like if you played Mario, it sounded like kind of distorted on purpose because they recorded on piano, and then what's called bit crush. They would degrade the audio quality sound because that was the sound of a video game. But now we've advanced. We have games like Halo, and even in Minecraft, where they have that nice kind of jazzy piano, however it goes, that tune. But yeah, so it's we've come a long way with this kind of stuff. So this technology was not like this even 15 years ago. We've made such huge advances. So we have so many people scoring films and TV shows and media. So it's cool. It's cool stuff. And this is really what I do. So I can show you I'll show you what really happened, the real thing we did, and then I will open the floor for questions. So I'll get rid of the reference. We have the audio, and let me unmute what this was. Yeah. Okay. Make this bigger.
This is Hal.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Something. What the heck? Give me 1 second. Sorry. What is playing here that shouldn't be playing? Oh, this we did. Duh. That's why. Sorry. Okay, let's do it again. See this always open. What happened? Where we go? Okay, sorry. Let's do this again.
This is Hal. This is his family. The world he's built for 72 years. This is Hal's heart. It's been torn, broken, and put back together. This is also Hal's heart. This is the cardiologist his brother recommended. And this is Hal's relief, knowing he's a network. This is Hal. This is what Medicare from Blue Cross Blue Shield does for Hal. And with access to our extensive network of doctors and specialists.
Okay, yeah. So that was. I realized there was one cut in here where we had live streams recorded, and I forgot this is kind of an old edition, so really it lined up a little better. But that was the music, the piano. We go to so of that, what do you think was fake and what was real? What about the piano in the beginning? Let me go back.
The world he's built for 72 years.
Let me see. I guess this can be part of the. I guess the Q&A. So what do you think was real? The piano. What about what is it here? Let me do this. Yeah. And now let's get to the strings.
This is Hal's heart. It's
Right here.
been torn, broken, and put back together. This is also
So the
Hal's
piano was not. It was fake. It was what we just used actually. That was that exact same piano, the sound iron emotional piano, and the strings were a mix. So fake. It was actually a mix of fake and real. So we did both, and this is actually not the first cut of it. That's why it has a jump cut. It sounds a little weird, but yeah. So there was actually a mix. Sometimes that really helps when you have, and you hear that. I'm surprised I haven't mentioned that yet. You hear that a lot, in especially video game music. There's a mix of strings, and a mix of fake strings and real strings. And typically with strings, woodwinds you don't want to mix really with each other. Woodwinds are specific. They kind of play with themselves. They don't really blend like you say, which just strings blend. You play pads and then you can easily blend with them. But woodwinds, you don't really want to blend with them unless you have a wall of sound, like you have a wall of French horns or just a bed of bassoons. So, but it's the strings were a mix, and you can hear that a lot. It's like the 80-20 rule: 80% real, 20% fake. There are a lot of video games you can hear that in. So I hope this was helpful and meaningful, and I hope it was kind of what you were expecting. These are just some examples. It wasn't much I could show because of NDA and stuff. But this is the process of writing and being a media composer. So I can show I can take questions now. I see a one hand raised. Oh, if you have any questions, ask them. So just do whatever Sue says. You want to ask him in here or?
Why is content spelled with a K?
Contact. So contact is spelled with a K. So is the words complete control with a K. That's just Native Instruments' cool way of being trendy. Contact is spelled with a K. That's just the name of they're just trendy, So that's just the name of the program.
Are you allowed? So I'll ask the questions if you guys put
Okay.
that. Are you? Sorry about that. Are you allowed to name any of the video games you have done in the past?
Name any of the video games? There was I did some. Yeah, it was I didn't purposely write like for everything, but I assisted a lot of people. If you know Christopher Tin of he wrote Baba Yato for the Civilization video games. I don't know if you know the Civ games. They're like the RTS PC games. I assisted him with a lot of music. That was mainly copying. So it was kind of doing piano. We'd have to take the score and do piano reductions for rehearsal. He's very concert based. He's very conservatory based. He went to Royal College of Music in England. So that was really great working with him because we had to kind of bond over the traditional training. So Civilization, there was this one small video game studio called Smashing Graphics Game Studios in New Jersey. I did some stuff for them. But I guess the bigger thing was Civilization. I did some work, and it wasn't. I just really I know him well. Tom Salta. He did some Ghost Recon video games, but there are a ton of people involved in this process. Like tons, just doing everything. Especially in video games, there's something called the software. There's a software called Wise. So it's where you have to implement music into a video game, and it's this whole other code of a whole nother thing of software that's even more difficult. It's called, I'm forgetting the name of it, Postware. It's basically, but it's so video games especially take a whole team of people to get music and sound into it. But anyway, yeah.
Someone asked, how do you insert a recording of notes or anything into the software?
So good question. Yeah. So this go ahead. What? Okay, so with this, so let me close this. This is MIDI data down here. And so this MIDI data is not recordings. It's what it is. This is a sequence. This is a kind of the code for the instrument. So this isn't audio, but audio just looks like this. This is the standard waveform. So this was, let me go to the strings here. Let me actually find the strings recorded. So I'll just use this ref for the sake of the waveform that I have here. So this was, if we go back to the ref for a second of the original song that they had in there. This was, this is the waveform. And if we were to layer this, so you see the waveform is on the beat. So it's almost on the beat here, not quite. But this is how you implement the audio. You just simply drag it in and drop it in. You'd record, and if I were to start a new instrument, I would just do here plus, and instead of software instrument, I would do audio, and audio would be a recording, and then I would pull up this track and I would record right into here. So typically, if you have live instruments, though, you're going to have live musicians in the studio, recording room, and then you have a click track. And we're at what? 120. Thought we were at 112. I'm not sure. This thing's always changing. But so we're at you get the BPM, and then you just simply record it, and then you do that thing where you line it up, where we have half samples and not half samples. Let's say like 80-20. So 80% real, 20% samples. And I don't think these are the same. Okay, so this is a different key. But yeah, so this is just simply audio. You just drag it in, and the audio is the easy part. That's the fun part. Dealing with these samples, the command of MIDI samples is what's really tough. Yeah, so it was a little more difficult, I should. But anyway, yeah. So, are there any other questions?
I think to follow up on that note from the same people who are asking, how do you insert the rhythm that you want for that particular note?
So that would be kind of, relating back to what I mentioned with the click track. And this, that's where meaning that you would, when you record live musicians, they have and I didn't mention this. Yeah. So when you're recording, we've all been to concerts, right? And you see people playing. They're playing on a stage and they're just simply playing a concert. But when you're in a recording studio, all of them are going to have headphones on. All the violinist, the percussionist, even the conductor, they all have headphones on. Sometimes they'll even have the scene. The conductor will have the scene on an iPad below him or projected onto the screen. And And so the reason why for that wrong, you can't have a little bit of an ebb and flow in the music. You have to be, if we're writing to film, it has to be on the beat altogether. That's why you have these ridiculous tempi in concert music. It's like quarter note equals 87.3 because they have to match exactly what the rhythm is of the scene. So that's how you would do it. And if stuff doesn't always line up, there are a lot of advanced techniques you can do in here. If I go to this, you can do a time flex thing. Like if I were to do, so this. So I would say, like, let's say this doesn't come right on the beat, right? This little waveform here, I can actually kind of bend and morph the audio without changing the pitch of it a little bit to make it on the beat. And it's really amazing what you can do. So yeah, like this. And I can actually kind of move stuff. So you can move the waveform over to actually line up to the beat. And this time it automatically lines to the beat. With samples, like using this thing, it's much easier. Obviously, I just drag and drop. I drag because these are just MIDI. This is a MIDI data, But yeah, so and I think there was something else with that. But yeah, so that's how you do that. You guys have any other questions?
Max, I think you
learn
have a
every
question.
day too. I'm still chipping away at this. Yeah.
Max, but your question is a little confusing. You're asking, do you do software for game consoles? Are you asking, like, is there a specific software for game consoles?
So there,
All the code for it to like actually put in there, so you can actually play stuff on it.
So there's I'm gonna look so because I'm so mad at myself, I'm blanking out the name. But there's this whole other secondary software, middleware. I just remembered it, middleware. Thank you, middleware. So so for commercials, TV, media that's not interactive, which is to say that it's not, control or push the button and fight a game, or VR, video game, VR, any of that kind of stuff. There's just music. We write music. We have the click track, the tempo. We do all this fancy time flex stuff, and that's it, right? We have the movie, and the movie's done. We have the film. We have the commercial, and the commercial's done. Music is the last step. So we just record, and we record the music, and we line it up, and we marry it to the film, and it's amazing, magic, easy. That's easy. Video games are difficult, and actually, let me step back a little bit. Another thing with that is, and animation can be difficult too, like Nightmare Before Christmas, or Up, or Moana, and any of these animated films. A lot of the music is written before the movie's actually shot, but they look at storyboards, they look at characters, and either way, that's still that's still just a one-step process, a linear process of writing music, and we have a film. Video games, though, have this other thing called middleware. And this is why video game music is more difficult. What I would do here is I would write this music, I would write it, and then it would have to go into a middleware, it'd go into another software before being put into the game, because games aren't developed yet when you're writing the music for them. And also, not only that, game music has to repeat. Game music has to indicate when you do something in a video game, right? If you defeat the boss, that cues dun, 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 some sort of music. If you don't defeat the boss, it's right? So all of that has to get implemented, and that is beyond me. I don't know a whole lot of that. I know a little bit, but if you get really good at middleware, this is a famous one. I'm gonna see if I don't think I have it on here. No, I don't, but there's a famous middleware called WYSE, WWISE, and that's what you would do. You'd write music, and then you'd get an army of people to help you, hopefully a few assistants to help you put in music, put your music into the game and layer it into the game. And I've done a little bit in WYSE, where basically you have to show, like if you're on a level and you have the roaming music, and then suddenly you leave the level and now you have to have space music because you fell into space. All this stuff is coded to trigger certain points of music, and it's really advanced. And if you get good at this stuff and this tech stuff, you'll be invaluable to a composer. So that's how you always get work. So I hope that answered your question. Okay, good. There is this one, and if you can ask one more, I'm just going to pull this up. If you want to ask if anyone wants to ask one more question, but I'm going to pull this up thing. Let's see if it works.
Okay, so I did not know why I thought I could escape this year, but I'm going to ask you two of our favorite questions that we ask all of our guests. The first one is, what would you do if you found a penguin in your freezer?
What would you do if you found a penguin? I'd probably keep him.
Good answer. And then the next question that we always ask all of our guests is, would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck?
Probably one horse-sized duck.
What is your reasoning behind it?
Because, I don't know, a horse-sized duck seems kind of cool. And I think I'd partner with him, and I think it'd be easier. Horses can be tough no matter what size they are, and so I would definitely prefer the duck, I think.
And can we hear your best dog bark?
My best dog bark. Ruff. Was that?
Very
was that, that was pretty bad. That was pretty awful. But so those are good questions. Ask those questions. Throw off a director. But yeah. So if there's nothing else, I'll close with one quick thing. Is that okay, or is there anything else that? So with this program, really fast, this is another program, and ultimately what it would look like, it's called Streamers. And I actually met the guy, and if you look down here where my mouse is, Streamers. What that is, if you look, you see the lines and then the circle in the middle. This is something that dated back to the original days of film scoring, before any computers, so the digital reel. And what they would do is, in the reel, they would kind of create cuts in the reel, and then they'd pop on a reel. And what that would do, it would create a line on the movie. Like, let's say the guy shoots the gun at the bad guy, and that's when you want a big musical cue. Like a big musical cue, a big musical sound, or the guy falls off the cliff, whatever. We still have that to this day, and this is it digitally. And if you look at go into any on YouTube, find any film scoring session, like type in the Pixar film scoring session for this film, Up film scoring session, whatever, you will see the director conducting. This kind of relates to the click track thing. You'll see the conductor conducting, and you will see his personal screen, a little iPad, and then projected on the screen, you'll see the movie, and you'll see a streamer, a white line go by like this, and then it'll pop right where the downbeat is. Because you're right, a click track can only go so far. If we have 88, quarter note equals 88, great, but you need some sort of visual cue that the film you can attack on the downbeat, and you can have the orchestra react on the downbeat in the film. And so the orchestra will have that in their earphones too. They'll hear a greater click, and the conductor will see it. So look up some behind the scenes on YouTube. It's really fascinating. So I hope this was good. I hope this was informative. You guys seem like a great group, and yeah, always see if you can hear the fake and real instruments next time you play a video game. Cool.
Thank you so much, Justin.
Thank you. Yeah.
I was just gonna say to all of our students, a lot of us are close enough. We are lucky to be close enough to be right next to the New Jersey Symphony, and I know that they do a lot of film score. Like they do
Yes.
Harry Potter almost every year, and they put the whole movie up behind the orchestra.
Yes.
And you can even see the conductor and all of the musicians, just like Justin said, they wear their headphones, they have the click track, they see the screen that counts down of when to come into the music, and there's live music through the whole entire movie while you're watching Harry Potter on the background. It's really great.
Exactly. Yeah, they do what's called live to picture. Right, exactly. They have the headphones, and you'll see their score will actually have the pops and the streamers. It'll have cues and stuff. So yes, definitely go to the NJ Pack and see the New Jersey Symphony play, and see them play live to picture. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun. So
I think they're going to be doing that again next year. Hopefully now that we can have concerts again.
Definitely. Yeah, I think they will. I know they did the whole Harry Potter series. I went to one of the Star Wars ones. So cool. Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. I saw E.T. and I saw Harry Potter, and they were
nice.
Very good.
Oh, E.T. I'm jealous. That's cool. That's great.
Well, thank you, Justin, all the way from the West Coast, California time.
Yep, exactly.
So everybody, thank you for joining me next week. Remind me next week. Next week is my dear friend Rob. We're going to do it on Beethoven. We're celebrating Beethoven and his, he's a fantastic violinist.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that sounds fun.
We're in for a treat next week. I hope you guys can join us again. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care. Great meeting you all. Thanks, Sue.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. Goodbye. Bye.
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 Thank you.